Isaiah Thomas is all positivity when discussing the city of Boston and his former teammates. Thomas jokes about being upset that he didn't get a Christmas card from Danny Ainge. 56. Boston. Isaiah Thomas received a standing ovation from fans at TD Garden when he was shown on the Jumbotron before the start of the second quarter of Wednesday night's game between the Boston Celtics and Cleveland Cavaliers. Thomas dealt to Cleveland in late August with Jay Crowder. Ante Zizic, the Brooklyn Nets' 2018 unprotected first-round pick and the Miami Heat's 2020 second-round pick, in exchange for Kyrie Irving, pounded his chest and waved to the crowd from in front of the Cavaliers bench. Editor's picks. He's still part of the Boston family. What it means to the Celtics. Isaiah Thomas spent just 2+ seasons in green, but Boston's king in the fourth left a Celtics legacy that goes beyond the basketball court. The 4-year rebuild that has transformed the Boston Celtics, what started with a megadeal sending 2 future Hall of Famers to Brooklyn, has turned into a masterclass in roster reshaping. 4 years, 20 trades and a blockbuster point guard swap later, Boston is back on the fast track to title contention. Showdown no contest as Celtics have little trouble with Cavs. Boston was never challenged in the second half, taking advantage of the out-of-sorts Cavaliers. 2 related. At Thomas's request, the Celtics did not show a prepared tribute video for him. He was sitting out the second night of a back-to-back after making his season debut in Cleveland's win over the Portland Trail Blazers on Tuesday. Thomas, wearing Cavaliers warm-up gear, joined his teammates on the bench late in the first quarter. Fans behind the visitors' bench cheered as he took a spot near the Cleveland coaches. Thomas briefly sprinted onto the court, chasing an end-of-the-quarter heave after the first quarter buzzer. Cleveland lost 102-88. Thomas embraced several of his former teammates and Celtics officials on the court after the buzzer sounded, despite his request to hold the tribute video for a later date. It was obvious that Thomas was going to get some recognition from the Celtics in his first visit back to Boston. Wearing a blue hooded sweatshirt and a winter cap, Thomas was all smiles as he arrived at the Garden about 90 minutes before tip-off. He stopped to greet some familiar faces, and fans craning to see from near the visitors' tunnel screamed his initials when they spied him walking toward the locker room. Thomas, who said he hadn't been to Boston since a dentist appointment in August before he was traded, joked that he nearly forgot to turn left into the visitors' locker room because he was so accustomed to turning right to enter the home side. "I almost walked that way in their locker room," Thomas said with a laugh. "No, I mean, I love this city. I love this organization. They've given me the opportunity to be who I always wanted to be, and I can't thank them enough. So there's no hard feelings to anybody in this city or anybody in this organization. And I'm glad I'm back. Like I always said, it's genuine love, and that's for the rest of my life here." Quote. Isaiah Thomas said his hip has gotten a lot better but that he is still far away from being the player that he was before his injury. David Butler 2, USA Today Sports. Thomas, who has admitted to being stung initially by the trade, had seemingly harbored a bit of frustration towards Celtics president of basketball operations, Danny Ainge. He first said in October that he might not ever talk to Danny again. Quote, but Thomas said that Ainge reached out after his return to action Tuesday and that they were good again. Ainge and Thomas crossed paths in the corridor near the Celtics locker room before Wednesday's game. The two chatted briefly and embraced. Ainge then sat in his typical seat on the baseline near the visitors' bench to watch the two East Powers go at it. "Have I forgiven Danny?" Thomas said. "He texted me last night. So yeah, we're good." Quote. Thomas admitted to keeping close tabs on his former team during his rehab. "I watch them a lot. I like how they play. He said, I love Coach Brad Stevens. I love Marcus Smart, even though he flops all the time. I love Terry Rozier. I love the coaching staff. Like I said, there's no hard feelings. Quote. Then, Thomas quipped, the only hard feeling is Danny didn't send me no Christmas card this year. Quote. Stevens gushed about Thomas before Wednesday's game, including how he looked while scoring 17 points in 19 minutes during his season debut on Tuesday night. First and foremost, I will always value him as a friend and person I got to be teammates with, Stevens said. It's what you appreciate the most about team sports. Lost among all the talk about where people play and everything else is the fact that you did get to compete together. I appreciated that about him. It was great to watch him play. Tuesday night, I thought that was fantastic. He added a dimension and element to their team. He starts the game and comes out earlier. LeBron comes out for a breather, and he comes back with the second unit. Think about how many scorers and players you have out there with that. He's gonna add quite a bit to that team. You can tell that. Quote. Thomas said that as he and the Cavaliers medical staff homed in on a potential return date last month, it became obvious to him that he would not play in Boston. I was out for 7 months. There was no way I was going to come back against Boston. He said, it's too big of an opportunity to just play against my former teammates, my former coaches, the city that gave me my biggest opportunity. I always wanted to play in this game, but I thought I would be back a little sooner to be able to play. Quote. Thomas noted that he's still far from being the player he was, but he hopes to be that player again down the road. Far away, he said. The hip has gotten a lot better, but it's still movements that I'm scared to do. But it's just because I've been out for so long. For the most part, when you get hurt, the mental side of things is the toughest part. Quote. Added Thomas. I want to be MVP one day. So I know anybody that takes 7 months off isn't just going to walk into doing that. I got a lot of work to do, but I'm happy about the progress. And I'm happy about everything that happened Tuesday. Quote. Thomas irked some Boston fans when the Celtics made public his request to delay his tribute video. Cleveland's other regular season visit this season is Feb. 11, the day the Celtics will retire Paul Pierce's jersey following their game against the Cavaliers. That's Pierce's night, but, like, the video tribute ain't the whole night, Thomas said. I just wanted my family to be here to see it. That's what it came down to. I wanted to be able to play. And I wanted my family to experience the love and appreciation this city and this organization is going to give me on that night. When my representatives reached out to these guys, they were all for it. They agreed on it. I don't know why they're so mad about it. I'm not taking nothing from Paul Pierce. He did 15 years here, so there's nothing that I can take from him. But if they choose to do it that night, that would be great, and I would be honored. And my family and friends can see how much they appreciated me here. Quote. During lineup introductions, the Celtics introduced Crowder last and showed a brief video montage with Crowder highlights, both on the court and off. It ended with a clip of Crowder doing a push-up on the garden floor before hitting a three-pointer against the Toronto Raptors. A still screen with "Thank you, Jay" appeared as fans gave him an ovation. Crowder scored 6 points in 28 minutes.